Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me, Colleen, the
I'm
cool
very happy
crone.
here. Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. Welcome.
And everybody, this is the first episode of Readings for Readers. And I am honored that Colleen has said yes to, I'm like, I have this idea. What do you think of this? Great. You want to come on and do it with me? um, oh, and I even created a little banner. I should probably put that up.
Oh, yes.
There you go. So it's
Oh, with my
Readings for Readers.
Right.
And so there you go. So so what we're going to do is I'm doing a reading for Colleen. Colleen's going to do a reading for me. We are going to share with everyone a bit of our process. Part of the benefit of this is you get to see what it's like to get a reading from us, as well as perhaps you get some ideas for your own practice for readings. So I think it's really very important. Oh, I have to do all of these things. This is for entertainment purposes only. Do not make decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance. Really. Please like, share, and subscribe because it's free. And yeah, that's that. I mean, just make sure if you haven't subscribed over to Colleen's channel, I don't know why you're waiting because there's a plethora of amazing stuff. Do the same for me. TarotStache, great. Links are below. So, so I wonder, well, how about we do this? How about we say hello to, here, I added a new one. We have the best lurkers. We have the best chatters.
Nice.
And we have the future lurkers.
Nice.
So everybody's welcome. So thank you.
Thank
And Imelda is here. Thank you for giving us a thumbs up. Beth is here. Lisa is here. And oh, the cool crone is here. This is exciting.
Yes, I'm here.
Madame Maru is here. Good to see you. And Hypnicity, Delani is here. Hello. Mark. Hello, Mark. And Sherry Freebury. Teacher Barbara, good to see you. Polly, thank you for being here. Jeanette M. My StreamYard is moving really slow. Julie V 1112. So, and love your artwork, Colleen. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So, yes, you get to learn. And Jane the Seeker says, really? And down to all of the above. Thank you. And Plucky Heroine is here. Plucky was this afternoon. And Me is here. Thank you. Okay. So well, while we are not doing readings for everyone who's watching, we're doing readings for each other, but we invite you to learn something along from us. We have Sonia Maggie is here. Good to see you. We have Angela Cardamancy Mesquite. We have Purple Elephant Deb H. Hello.
Hey.
And Beth said, my lives in chat were freezing for a couple of days. Unplugged my router, waited 30 seconds. So, okay. So, and Val is here, Dragonfly Crystals.
Hi, Val.
And, y'all see Val too. So this is wonderful. But, okay. So, Colleen, I invited you here. I'm going to do a reading for you. And you're going to do a reading for me. But before we do that, how about we talk about, okay, first of all, purchase responsibly, know your limits. We're here to share, not to sell. You can get personal readings with us. Links are below. When it comes time for you to do a reading, Colleen, what sort of preparation do you do?
Well, like when I'm getting ready to do shows, I do kind of a general prep before the show.
Mm-hmm.
If I can meditate, I meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm running from work. And
Yeah.
so what I'll do is I'll sage my studio and I'll light a little incense and I'll just kind of get quiet. And so it's just like a very quick little contemplation, not even a
Mm-hmm.
meditation. And usually before I turn over the first card, I hold my cards in my hand and I say just a very quick little prayer to the angel of Haru, which is Horus.
Mm-hmm.
And I ask, what do I do? Let me think. What do I do? Please allow me to do the most positive, practical, and powerful reading possible for this person. I like the P's, so I put all those
Yeah.
P's in there, and I ask the angel of Haru to show me the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's a combination of all of that stuff. If
Sure.
I'm doing like a reading for someone that's going to be a longer reading, then I make sure that I have time to do some sort of meditation. And I also, I might, instead of sage, I might burn frankincense and myrrh resin,
Mm-hmm.
kind of,
Oh.
raise the vibration a bit. And it just depends on what kind of reading I'm doing for the person or what kind of service I'm doing for the person. I
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure that I'm in the right mind frame.
Yes.
And yeah, so those kinds of things. I mean, I know it probably looks like we start the show and we just start, throwing cards all over the place, but there is preparation there because you want to take your ego out. And I,
Yes.
I literally, when I'm doing my little prayer, I literally do a little hand motion to just tell my ego to step over there
Yep.
while I'm reading.
Mm-hmm.
And that really helps actually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I do that with everything. If I don't have time for anything else, I'll just say, Angel of Ru, please allow me to do a powerful, positive, practical reading for this person with the, for the highest good.
I
I
love that.
love
So what
that.
I'm hearing an echo. I'm not hearing an echo now.
Okay.
Okay. I do something similar before I sit down because I burn incense to create a sacred space. So I'm casting a bit of a circle
Hmm.
because online, I want to keep myself safe. I also want to keep my guest safe as well as the people who are watching the video. Um, if I'm doing a private reading, I am absolutely setting up more of a stronger circle.
Yeah.
I'm burning incense. I have mist. I use a mist of Florida water
Nice.
as a cleansing space. I will oftentimes wear jewelry. This is something that I wear typically online. This is my yeah,
Tiger.
tiger's eye. And for me, it really is for protection and grounding. It helps me to be fully present.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me to be fully present. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I love the F&M. I have that oil that I shine on my third eye. Okay. And Jane the Seeker uses an oil that she has.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Sonia's like, it works, Colleen. You gave me a great reading.
Thank you, Sonia.
So,
Thank you.
and so I'm also not doing a reading if I'm not in the right headspace.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I usually have water around me.
Yep.
I am a person who I take notes. I actually have a notepad right next to me so that I can take notes to help me remember things because a lot of times when I'm reading, I will forget. I won't necessarily remember what I said. And I've got to remember, writing it down helps me to remember these are the questions. These are the basic information that somebody's wanting to get.
Well, about that, about not remembering what you said,
Uh-huh.
you shouldn't remember what you said. It's actually none of your business. It's their reading.
Yep.
It came through you and it went to the person. You're reaching a higher vibration.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain is doing, I don't know, beta, theta, delta waves. It's doing a different thing than just thinking in your everyday mode.
Yes.
So not only will you not remember it, but when you're in that mode, you may not be able to remember names of people, names of things, certain stuff, because you're talking to the
Yeah.
angels. You're not talking to, a CEO. You're talking,
Mhm.
or the gardener or the guy at the grocery store. You're talking
Yes.
to angels or guides, and you're operating on a completely different level. So it's
Mhm.
good that you don't remember. Remember, everybody, it's none of your business what you said in a reading.
And I'm really glad you said that too, because early on when I was learning tarot, somebody would come back and say, "Do you remember that reading that you gave me?" No, I don't. I don't remember that, which is why a lot of times I will actually say, "Please take notes during your reading because I won't remember. If you come back and ask me, I won't remember." So,
Well, that's what I love about Zoom. I can record the readings and I
yeah.
can send them the recording, and then they don't have to come back and ask me questions. But sometimes people do come back and ask me follow-up questions,
Mhm.
which is also hard to do
Yeah.
because the reading that you're giving is for that moment in time and space.
Yes.
And as the world moves on, so does the time and space. And so, well, now we're talking about a whole different
Yes.
scenario. So that's hard. That's
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Purple Elephant Deb H has brought it very clear is simply by asking the question you change the energy around what you're asking. And
absolutely good point, Deb. Good
I
point.
firmly believe that. I
Yeah.
firmly believe that. So both of us are shuffling cards right now. That's something that I do. It's a great it's a wonderful way just to get me into that space
Mhm.
because I have a particular way that I shuffle before I do a reading, but the shuffling just it allows my energy to infuse in the deck,
Mhm.
especially while I'm talking with someone about their question. So, um, but let's talk about the question.
Yeah.
Um, I think a well posed question is extremely important to getting to getting a reading that's going to help you.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
Agreed. Because so many times when people are asking questions, it's really just a yes, no.
mhm,
And I know when, for me, for most of the people that ask me yes, no questions, they already know the answer. They just want confirmation.
yes, I agree. Yeah.
And, that's a pendulum that, you don't have to waste
Mhm.
time on a whole tarot reading for that. If you want to flush out the details, now here's where it comes to crafting a
Yes.
good question. Where
Yes.
where do you start with crafting a good question?
I actually craft the question by asking, okay, what is it that you want to find out more about? What are you trying to understand?
Okay, that's good.
And then that way, it's the pre-interview. And I consider this as equally important as actually doing the reading
Mhm.
because I'm wanting to understand the layers and the complexity that this person has about it,
Mhm.
about the information that they're desiring. So,
Mhm.
um, you know, in one-on-one readings, again, all of this stuff, for entertainment purposes only, blah blah blah. But it's easier face to face or one on one to understand the nuances around the questions.
Yeah.
So,
I
what
I,
about
some,
you?
I sometimes ask people, what do you hope to get out of this reading?
It's a great question.
Which is a little bit different than asking straight on about their question. Because a lot of times people don't know until they start talking about it. And then they're like, oh, I guess I'm not really asking if I'm going to get a new job. I'm really asking, am I going to be happy in whatever job I'm in, or am I
Mhm.
going to have to leave this job, or is somebody else going to leave this job and make the whole environment better for me? I mean, it leads to a whole string of other issues, but finding out from the client what it is that they are really looking for sometimes is not just about the question. It's more about their situation where they are
Mhm.
right now, sitting in front of you or sitting across the screen from you.
Yes, I'm writing something down because that's insightful. And if I have a someone come to me for the first time, I will actually ask them, Colleen, I'll say, so have you ever had a tarot reading before?
Oh yeah, I asked that too. Hmm.
And it's great to hear what people say about that. It gives me a chance to understand what is their relationship with tarot. Also, it gives me an opportunity to say, okay, here's how I read tarot. Here's the experience that you're going to have with me. And so I think that's an important thing to understand. Somebody's like going to be happy. Somebody, they go, oh, we're oh, I always get readings for this and this, or I get readings related. What I love, Colleen, is I love it when people come to me. I call them, like, it's like when you go to the doctor for well baby visits. It's just the check-in. How are things going?
Hmm.
How are things going? So, um, yeah. Um, and Jane the Seeker says, I think a spread can lead you to a question. It certainly can. Yeah. And definitely setting expectations up front. So, um, so for those of you who are joining us, we are doing readings for readings. I'm doing a reading for Colleen. Colleen's going to do a reading for me. We are sharing a little bit about our process to help you understand what we do. And we hope you learn something. So, and that says, I see that question as a type of managing of expectations. If you get someone who has no experience with tarot, they sometimes don't know what to expect or expect too much. Yeah,
That's true.
yeah,
And, I think some people too, especially those who have not had readings before, they sort of expect you to lay out their life. And that's not going to happen in one
mhm,
tarot reading. I
no,
can give you very broad strokes. I can give you a big arc of what's going on, but that's called a palm reading. That's not a tarot reading.
yeah,
A
yeah,
palm reading can give you, here's some high points of what's going to happen in your life and,
hmm,
some health issues and whatnot. But a tarot reading is really about right now. And it's
yes,
about the energy right now and your choices right now. You may
mhm,
change. The energy may change. People around you may change. Circumstances may change. Your town could blow up. You don't know.
yeah,
So things will change. You can't say, well, I'm going to take it to the bank that a year from now, everything you said is going to have happened. Well, probably not. Sorry to disappoint you,
yeah,
but it just doesn't work that way.
yeah. I like that. I also think it's interesting is if somebody doesn't know what they're to expect, um, it can be a lot of fun, and it can develop that. I see tarot as a way to understand things that maybe I'm not seeing, and that they shed some light on it.
Yeah.
And I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've gotten readings from people who I'm like, I am not doing that. You may see that. Great. But I mean, it's a lot of free will. Um, Plucky said, in the past, as a querent, I can sense there's a change coming, but I can't articulate it, so that's why I seek out a reading.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And depending upon the reader, Plucky, they can pull on a lot of things. Like Colleen can pull in astrology. You have a vast amount of information about that. So,
Mhm.
reading the cards, I mean, so really amazing. So,
Yeah. Yeah. But you have to realize too that while you're experiencing or this instinct that a change is coming, what we see in the cards, we might not hit the nail on the head. We might be in the neighborhood, but we might not hit it on the head. Or some other reader, they and there's many layers to that change.
yes.
Is it an internal personal change? Is it going to be manifesting in your household? Is it then going to affect your job or your greater community? Is it going to impact your life's purpose or your goals for the next 5 years? I mean, all of those little pieces are like, little dominoes. They all hit one another, and then you have a completely different pattern of life laying out in front of you. So our reading may seem kind of in comparison to all that wonderful change
Yeah.
that's going on. It just depends on the reader in the moment.
It really does. It really does. By the way, Jeffrey, Jader Al, my husband, is listening whilst driving. So I'm hoping he's keeping his eyes on the road.
Yes, please keep your
Um,
eyes on the road, Jeffrey.
Care Bear said, "Hi, Gerald. Hi, Colleen. This is such a great idea. Thank you." And Sherry French said, "Colleen, I appreciate videos you have about the different suits in the tarot cards."
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
So,
Great.
and Sherry, Voices from the Swamp, is here. Hi, Sherry. Good to see
Hi,
you.
Sherry.
Um, and Care Bear said, if I'm too emotionally frustrated, it's not a good time for me to read on myself or for others.
Yeah, this. Go ahead, Gerald.
I was just say, or you phrase a different question. There's a different approach that you might be able to take, but you have this wonderful idea that's what you're paying attention to. I think that's important. What were
Yeah.
you going to say?
I was going to say, of course, there are going to be those times where you actually feel like, yeah, I'm just too out there to be able to do a reading. But in general, that tugs on another issue for readers is that you do really have to take care of yourself. You really
Yes.
owe it to yourself to try to be as serene as possible.
Mhm.
Meditation is important, or at least figuring out self-care methods that give you serenity, that allow, and I know it's serenity, it's all kind of the same thing,
Yeah.
but it's so, so, so important. If you're already an emotional person and probably an empath if you're doing readings, right? So
Yes.
I'm not saying that you can't be emotional. I'm not saying you can't be anything. I'm
Hmm.
saying that for your own well being, you want to smooth yourself out, smooth your life out so that you can manage the ups and downs without letting it throw you. Right. But
That
that's
is well
bigger.
said.
That's a whole other video.
Yeah, that is, stay tuned.
Yeah.
That's very well said. Tarot Your Way is here, Thomas, and Beth Aspasia Rising said, reading tarot is so much like teaching yoga. There are people who really work with you, while others sit back and say, "Do this, make me feel better."
Yeah, yeah, I
And
agree. I agree, Beth. I also used to teach yoga long, long ago. And yeah, you can have people that just are like, well, this is all I can do. I can't do both hands. And you're like, okay, well, that's all you're going to get out of the class. Okay.
mhm,
So bye. I'm going to go talk to this guy over here. and
yeah,
and you're right. They are kind of the same way. I read every year for 2 months at the New York Renaissance Fair. And I say that because it's a fair, right? So people line up at 10 o'clock in the morning to start drinking. And by the time they've had a couple of big, tall boys, right, they're ready for a reading. So I
yeah.
often read people who are, and and they sit down with one of two attitudes. Well, one of three attitudes. One is, I think my husband's going to leave me. I need a reading. They're drunk and crying, and you're just
Yes.
like, okay, okay, fine. And then they're the people actually who leave you $20 tips. And then there's the guys who are like, my wife told me to do this, so read me.
Mhm.
Are you psychic?
Yeah.
Let's see, prove it. And I'm like, my answer is, um, I can't prove it. So if you want to pay me to sit here and talk to you for 10 or 15 minutes, I'll do it, but I can't prove anything to you. So
Yeah.
get over that.
Yep.
But then you get people who haven't drunk that much and who actually do want a reading. And there are so many people that for some reason they wait until the fair to come up and have an annual reading. And I'm like, really? This is probably something you should do like at least twice a year, if not three or
Yes.
four times a
Yeah.
year. Not every day, not every month, but you should check in every once in a while with a reader because it
Yeah.
can be very helpful. And those people that are coming for those annual readings, I feel a great responsibility to give them like, okay, let's try to get the whole year in
Yeah.
here.
We're going to do it as quickly as we can. So
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Yes.
it's a lot. It's a lot. So
Yeah. So, we had a question that I highlighted that Carolyn asked, Porterfield Maxie. I feel anxious when I meet new people. Will that affect my reading? If so, any suggestions prior to a reading?
Well, yeah, it will affect your readings if the anxiety is there because you'll be blocking yourself from getting messages.
Exactly.
But part of the anxiety, just a suggestion, if you are an empath, is that you're overloaded, you're overstimulated by the energy of others around you. And this is usually, I like to say, people who are connected to the fairies or to the galactics sometimes have a hard time managing earth energy, and people
Mm,
who are just like kind of bouncy and happy in the
yeah.
or people who are really, forceful or whatever. So if you have that problem, well, you could stay home a lot, which is what I do, but you can carry stones that help you feel more
Yeah.
calm. You can carry grounding stones, like any dark stones. And
Hmm.
then if you're going to carry a clear quartz, make sure that all your other stones have real purpose in them, because that
Yes.
clear quartz will amplify all the other stones. But if
Hmm.
you have, like Gerald's wearing a tiger's eye, you might not want to start out with a tiger's eye because that might amplify some of your anxiety at first. But get yourself some dark grounding stones, maybe some stones in green for healing and calm, and a blue stone for calm, and just see, walking around with those stones, if that helps you. And if it does, then add the tiger's eye for when you're doing reading,
Yes. Yeah.
and a fluorite. I'll say a fluorite is a good thing
Yeah.
too for that. Angel,
MLR. Yeah. MLR said, I go nowhere without my rocks.
yeah, I mean, you got it, you can have it in jewelry, you can have it in your pocket, you can have just itty bitty pieces of it. It doesn't, you don't have to carry like, a big boulder with you, like this. You can carry something small,
Yeah.
and it does the job just as well. Also, when you talk to your stones, tell them what you want them to do. Keep them by your beds, like on your nightstand, and tell them, I need you to help me calm down in the presence of other people.
Yes.
And they will take on that programming, and then you carry them with you, and they will perform. They will do that for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
stones, 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 that's the way to go.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing is each reader you go to brings their own information with them and their own experience. I would not be recommending stones to you unless I were actually pulling cards with stones on them, pictures of stones, for some suggestions. Colleen has a lot of experience with that. So this is, again, part of that beautiful balance. So I think it's really important. And Sherry also followed up. Sherry French said, Colleen, reading people who are three sheets to the wind must be difficult, to say the least. Are people open who are in that condition?
Maybe 30% of them are. Most of them, even if they're happy drunks, they're a little bit like, yeah, I already know this. And you're like, why are you sitting down and doing a reading? But that's what they want. So they put down their money at the fair. That's what we're supposed to do, is read them. So that's
And
what
I
they
think, it depends upon, for me, it depends upon the condition of the person. And it certainly dictates how in depth the reading is going to be. So,
Yeah. I also noticed too that I tend, see, I'm a little sneaky. I do want to get business. I do want people to come in and get readings, but I always keep a little piece of black tourmaline in my booth, which kind
mhm,
of turns away people who are kind of icky. And
yeah.
so as a result, I get more young people
Mhm,
who are, TikTok happy, but that's okay.
yeah.
At least they're not denigrating and dissing my
True.
abilities and my services, and
Yeah.
what I'm doing and everything.
Yeah.
So they're a little easier to read, although
Mhm,
sometimes they think they know more than you. It's really interesting. They come for the reading, but then they want to tell you all about witchcraft and witches and Wicca and everything that they know and everything that they've done and how gifted they are. And I'm just like, wow, you really, you need a grandma. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. You need somebody to slap you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, for entertainment purposes only. So again, this is an opportunity for us. We're going to do readings for each other. And so because I don't want to keep Colleen here all night. I do have to say, yeah, dang it. Um, I actually have to say, a lot of time I've gotten much more efficient at doing personal readings for people because I have developed my confidence. and then that confidence means I'm well connected, and I am working with the energy of the reading, the person, and the cards, and it's a beautiful, beautiful match. So, but so let's okay. So, and then we have cards and we have spreads and all that stuff. But are you what would you like to find out information on, Colleen, through the reading that I'm going to do for you?
So I'm kind of in a health journey right now. So I
Hmm.
would like to find out about what what's that, my health journey. Is it going to am I going to be able to keep with it, all these new habits I'm trying to embrace? And am I going to be satisfied with the outcome? Is it going to be, I mean, I probably am not going to be, putting on my toe shoes anytime soon, but I want to know if I'm going to be able to. A lot of it has to do with mobility.
Hmm.
I just found out that my left hip is actually arthritic, which I didn't know because I
Okay.
didn't have any pain or anything in the hip, but I did have trouble with my left leg. And that all led to that diagnosis. And I'm doing physical therapy, but there's a whole bunch of other health stuff. I just went and got the whole Megillah looked at. And it's a little like, oh, really? Okay. So
Hmm.
there's all sorts of stuff going on. And I just want to know, is there any, I don't think I'm going to have any like big surgeries or big events or anything like that. I'm in pretty good health, but I
Yeah.
do have a few things around the edges that really need to be cleared up. So
Okay.
that's what I'd like to kind of know about. Like, where are we going with that?
Okay. And for me as a reader, I oftentimes don't read specifically on health things. However, in listening to Colleen, there are flags that go, enter this. This is fine. She's seen a doctor. She's seeing a doctor. She is aware of what's going on. And the question is, if I'm going to analyze your question,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
feel free, is you're asking things around, how do I keep with this? Am I going to keep up with this? Am I going to be satisfied with the outcome? And that's a definitely an energy thing of, I already know. I mean, you are well connected, and you probably already have some good insight to that. Um, but there's this beautiful thing of, is it's like when I need to hear it from somebody else. What am I missing? What
Yeah.
might help? Is that fair?
Yes, that's very good. Yeah, that's good. That's what I want to know about.
Okay. So, do you want to know my question?
Sure.
Okay. And by the way, yes, I wrote down Colleen's question.
And I'm getting ready to write down yours. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I am going to be doing a lot of work on the exterior of my house and the grounds, and I need some insight to keep me freaking motivated. This is not something that I enjoy doing, and I need that help to chunk it down into smaller bites that I don't get overwhelmed with.
Okay.
I did see Jonathan show up. Hello.
Okay.
So um, let's talk. Let's talk about cards.
Okay.
I'll start. I have a lot of different decks around me, and if I'm going to an event where I am Deborah Haggerty, that is funny. My suggestion: hire someone. Yes. Um, you know, so actually, that's on the docket as well. Um, but I usually take a couple of decks that are good overall general decks for me. I take some that are good for romance. I do have some that are for healing, with not just physical but emotional healing. And I try to have some decks that I think people are going to see themselves in. So, what
Okay.
about you? What sort of decks do you have?
I have my favorite, which is the Cosmic Tarot. The backs look like this.
Mm,
I've used this deck for years. It really speaks to me. I also use a bunch of non-tarot decks. I use playing cards. I have a couple of different styles of Lenormand decks. I use kippers. I use different variations of Lenormand. I use, yeah, those are the ones I use, those littler
Mhm.
ones. And then I have a bunch of tarot card decks that I just love. Like I love like the Housewives Tarot. I love
I
that.
love that one
Love
too.
that deck. I love it. And but only for certain things. And I love like I have the zombie deck. That's also good for people who are snarky, like political figures.
Yep.
Um, what else do I have here? I have
I like the pulp tarot.
oh, the pulp tarot I use all the time. I love that too. I really love that one. I have a lot of different tarot decks that have to do with um like just like these beautiful artwork decks that I do use. Like I've got this one by, if I can see if I can just find the book on it. What's it called? The book was really hard to find. I had the deck for years and years and years and years. And
Mhm.
then I found online that I really wanted to buy a book, a real book that explained it because I had lost the little white pamphlet.
Oh, uh-huh.
I went to go price the book out and it was $800 on Amazon.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh, I guess this deck must be really cool now. So I'd had it since it was first published and not really wasn't that jazzed about it. But I tracked down the book and it's not the Sacred Rose. It is, oh, it's going to drive me nuts now. But it's a really cool one. Just give me 1 second. Let me look
Of
for
course.
let
Of
me look
course.
for the book.
Well, here, let me be a snark and put this up. This section of the video is brought to you by the word question. Everyone say it with me. Question. Question. An act or instance of asking. Inquiry. No question about it. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channels. Question. All right.
I found the book. Okay.
What's the
So
book?
it's the Gendrian Tarot. And I managed to find this book. I had it sent from Canada because I couldn't I couldn't find it in the United States for less than $700-800. But it's a very interesting deck. She had reinterpreted like every image you could think of in this deck, and the pictures are black and white, so I won't pick them up. But I really like that deck for certain things. But there's still certain cards because like you know how certain decks they kind of mess around with like where the order of the major arcana a little bit and the meaning of certain major arcana. I used to just hate that, but once I started reading in this book why she was doing it, I was like, oh yeah, okay, I kind of get that. So she has a beautiful combination of all the things that I like, you know, offbeat religions, Native American, regular metaphysical junk, chakra stuff, angel stuff. I mean, all this stuff kind of blended into one and beautiful, beautiful artwork. Um, so I love that one, but it's a little hard to use sometimes because it makes you really shift gears. I have I have a couple of weird tarot decks. I have a lot of angel tarot decks. I'm really, really into that. And some of them are kind of hard to read, but I do read them. And then there's oracle decks. And I gotta say, my favorite author for oracle decks is Kyle Gray. I am just drawn to every one of his decks. And I used to get all the Doreen Virtue decks. I don't have every single one, but I have a hell of a lot of them. And her decks are still good, you know, even though she's like off in the wild blue yonder. The decks are good, and I really think that the imagery that she puts on them is really pretty. It's really, really pretty. Who else? Colette Baron Reed does some beautiful decks. I love her stuff. And I just bought a deck by this woman that I have admired for years because she started the Fairy Fair in England, and it was my inspiration for doing my own fairy fair here in New Jersey, which I did for like 5 years. And I started a correspondence with her, which didn't really go anywhere because I never got over to England to go to the stupid thing. But I want to go someday if she's still doing it. I don't know if she's still doing it. But she now does tarot and oracle decks, so I bought one of hers, and
Oh, nice.
I just bought it the other day, so I don't have it yet, but I'm very excited about getting that because she's
Yeah,
just so fairy. And I have a lot of different fairy decks, oracle decks,
sure,
tarot decks, little
sure.
Kipper fairy deck. I mean,
Well, and here's the thing: you only need one deck in order to read cards.
that's right. You do.
So, I mean, these are the nuances which are, for me, really very powerful. So,
Hmm.
I think that's a lot of fun. Um, okay, so spreads. You were sharing with me a typical spread that you do. Would you be willing to share that with people?
Sure, sure. So at the fair, I have a very small table, so I'm not always able to use 10 cards in a spread. And also, you want to get people through with the reading. So
Yep.
I developed a system of shuffling and spreading my cards that is very efficient. So I shuffle however I shuffle. I can do the shuffle like they do in Atlantic City, where they do the little
Yeah.
branch and all that
Hmm.
stuff. Or I can do the hand over hand kind of shuffle thing, or I can just, mess them around in my hands, just taking a few off the top and a few off the bottom until I mess them all up. Okay.
Hmm.
So you shuffle however you shuffle. And then I take, where's the camera? And then I take and I just pull out the middle here because I don't really have a lot of room on my table if I want to cut cards. And
Uh-huh.
that's my second pile. That's the equivalent of me cutting the deck into 3 piles. And then I either fan them out and pull out the cards, or I just I don't fan them, but I just kind of swoosh them all in a row on the table, and then I pull out the cards. Or if I'm feeling really frisky that day, I just take them off the top. And
Hmm.
I pull out 5 cards and I lay them out. And I'm not too concerned about what positions they are. I look at the overall impression that I get from those
Yes.
5 cards. I look particularly at the middle card. And very often the middle card is going to be the climax or the challenge or the thing that they have to get around before they get to the
Hmm.
end. The end card I do think of as the final outcome. But the 2 cards in the beginning and the fourth card, that's just kind of up for grabs. However, they kind of meld with the other cards. And that's how I get my reading for them.
Hmm. Yes. I will oftentimes, for me, I will shuffle my cards. I will separate them. I'll separate them, and then I will pull from the bottom of this pile,
Oh,
turn it over. I will set the others down, and then I will turn over the top cards of each of those, and then I will turn under the bottom card. So for me, that is oftentimes the card is oftentimes the influences of what happens. But that first card that I pull over is that, okay, here's what we've got. I still have an option to pull more cards. I will oftentimes in a private reading, I just did one today where I used 3 different decks
mhm.
and layering them. And so there's a lot of power in that. It's a lot of power in that. So
Yeah, yeah, I
and
like
that
it.
one is that this reading just started probably within the last 6 months, pulling them like this. It was like, okay, and it seems to work for me.
Nice.
So
Very nice.
yeah, there are 5 cards too with that. So
Yeah. Another
um
another thing that I'll do at the fair, because I often get people who are saying, "Well, but what about this? Well, but what about this? Well, but can I ask about my son?" And I'll take, if I've taken out of the middle of the deck, usually I'll take at least this thick, maybe a little thicker out of the middle of the deck. So I'll have cards left over. I take those cards, I fan them out, and I say, choose 1 card or 2 cards or
yeah.
3 cards. And I read those for that question. I don't do a whole other read because they're not paying for that. They're only paying for the first read. But I will give them an answer. You know,
Hmm.
Wayne Ridge says the old kerfuffle shuffle. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. You're welcome, Carl. Thank you for the update. So um so I'm going to read for Colleen first. Anything you want to say about card spreads, the question, because I think we've covered that pretty well. And anything you want to add or like that to add to that?
No, I'm good.
Okay. One of the things that I do when I do private readings is I will do somebody's birth numerology based to find out the tarot. I did this ahead of time with Colleen. Colleen is a 5, which is a Hierophant. And what this tells me, what are the aspects of the Hierophant that are important to Colleen? And how does that help inform Colleen's interaction with the world? May I say out loud?
Yeah.
Okay. You are a person who is extremely wise. You like to help people figure out their next step. Hierophants oftentimes are the Hierophant gets a bad rap in the tarot because it's the religion card.
Mm-hmm.
While it is the religion card, it's the card of one. It's the card of them. Somebody. It's the bridge person from one aspect to another. They're to help you to get your own personal experience with divinity. They want you to improve. They want you to have your individual experience. And you probably, I would imagine, in my world, you write rules and you put out plans for things at work, how things should be done,
Yep.
because they should be done the right way. And you know the right way because you smarter. Well, you're not smarter than everybody. I mean, yes, you are. But you have a clearer understanding because you have that big picture in mind and you
Yeah.
know the steps in the process that needs to go through.
Yeah, that's very true.
On the flip side of that, you are absolutely a person who likes to help create that structure. You're also a person who will ignore that structure when it's convenient for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, okay, I'm not going to do that. That's how we should do it, but
Mm-hmm.
let's go around this way. So, and Amanda Carroll is a 5 as well.
Oh.
So, yeah, a 5 smile. It's like, yes, Gerald. Don't be reading me. Jane is as well. So, but that helps me because I'm like going, okay, I can tell Colleen's going to benefit from maybe setting up some sort of a rhythm, structure, appointments to help her keep with it. So,
Yeah.
okay, so we're looking at specifically how you're going to keep up with it. And are you going to be satisfied with the outcomes and, keeping the mobility going? So I'm actually using the Sacerabito because it wanted to come out and play. It's this one. Have you seen this deck?
No, that looks cool.
It's I use the Sacerabito Mini all the time for my yes or no questions. So okay, so oh, and if I were to be doing this not on camera, I would start with a general Celtic cross just so that I can get a good feel of what's going on. So I'm not doing that right now. So all right. So Colleen, the first card that I have for you is the Star.
Oh.
So thinking of are you going to keep with it? I would say absolutely the universe is wanting you to keep up with it.
Yay.
It's going to give you ample opportunity to do things with it. And I also think this is, I'm sort of connecting in is as far as your health, if you are not healthy, you cannot do what the universe needs you to do to help other people.
That's right.
So
that's right.
There might be a little pressure from that, but whenever the Star card comes up for me, Colleen, for when I'm doing reading, this is the universe conspiring for your success. You are well loved, you are chosen, and I bet you pay very close attention to astrology as you are doing this stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very much so. Yeah.
And so I would actually think yes, keep doing that. Pay attention to the rhythms and the cycles that you are aware of yourself with your signs. And also be willing to have the universe provide you help that you weren't expecting. So you might have an opportunity to see a different physical therapist,
Mm-hmm.
add a bonus class. Somebody said, oh, hey, you might like this. Say yes to that. So
Yeah, nice.
an important aspect of this for you on your overall well-being journal, and I'm calling it a well-being journey because we have the Queen of Cups. She is really interested in her overall well-being internally and externally. So
Mm-hmm.
she is, I mean, I love her face. She is smiling as she is basking in the glow of the water in that cup, which is reflecting the stars above. So we have a link here.
Yeah, very much.
Um,
Beautiful. That's
so this is really powerful, and I also like how there is a heart on her forehead.
yeah, I noticed that too. I was like, oh, that's so cute.
Hmm. And the heart on the forehead reminds me to um, you may be careful on how hard you are on yourself. Treat yourself with loving kindness and tenderness to remember this is a journey. This is a destination that you're getting there. It's not going to go as quickly as you want.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the third card that I have for you is the Magician. Hello, the Star, the Queen of Cups, and the Magician. You are the one who controls this. Your decisions, and you are very aware the decisions you make have impact. You, I would also say, check your ego about it. Sometimes the Magician can be a little egocentric because I am all that. I can do all of that. Sometimes it's like going, ooh, slow down.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to, be willing to ask for help.
Okay.
But you are also, if it's a priority for you, then make it a priority
Mm-hmm.
instead of it
It
being,
is.
8 different things that you've got going on, 7 different things. Make sure that you, um, I think it's an important aspect for you to um, make it a priority. Book it first,
Mm-hmm.
and then book everything else.
Yep. Yep. That's what I'm doing.
So, okay. So after I do that reading, I go, how's that making sense? Is it making sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's look at some other things that might cause some struggles for you, because underneath the Queen of
Mm-hmm.
Cups, we have the Two of Swords.
Okay.
So with the Queen is very intuitive. She's very mature. She's looking inward. You may have some choices to come up that could be a bit challenging for you. Um, you have a good thought process already. Don't wait too long to make some of the decisions.
Okay.
And I would say, and sometimes the Two of Swords is literally 2 decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and if you're basking in this glow and you're getting into the bliss of the universe, sometime you got to get out and you got to do some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, and then behind the Magician is the Wheel of Fortune. And for me, the Wheel of Fortune is everything always changes.
Yeah. That's
How
true.
you roll with it is extremely important. The Wheel of Fortune is a 10, which reduces to the 1.
Yeah.
Understand that the decisions you make today are impacting, I mean, these work together.
Yeah.
The decision you're making as a magician to, well, maybe I will, maybe I am going to eat that. And this is just me, not you. Maybe I am going to eat that whole bag of potato chips
Mm-hmm.
and have ice cream, but then I'm going to hurt tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um, and so just remember that the decisions that you make impact the future. Now, you've talked about meditation.
Yep.
Meditation is an extremely important part of this. When the Wheel of Fortune shows up for me, Colleen, I always remind people it is important to stay as centered as possible, because when the wheel shifts, you then don't get as discombobulated as if you were on the outside.
Right.
The wheel turns. So stay centered in this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and thinking about keeping with it. I think the short answer is yes, with your decision making, sticking to your guns and being willing to make those hard choices,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding that what you are doing today impacts the future.
Yeah, very much so.
So now, in a 5-card reading, 3 cards are major arcana.
Hmm.
We have the Magician, we have the Wheel of Fortune, and we have the Star.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
stay in
Wow.
the center so you don't. Yeah.
Nice.
Um, do you have any questions about those? Do you need any clarification or anything like that?
I think that was pretty clear. I think, given what I've already started and what I'm hoping to continue, I think I know what I need to do. I think that's really good. It's a very good reading. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And
Really good.
um, so then, and that's an important thing with after you've done a reading is to find out whether or not the person has any questions about it. Does that make sense? What questions do you have?
Yeah.
Because questions are okay, because you may be realizing there may be an aspect of something that you as the querent are thinking that the reader wasn't even considering.
Yeah.
So um, I've missed some of the chat. My apologies. I was in hardcore reading mode. So, Colleen, I think you could see that. You could energetically go, and he's paying attention to the cards. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. Thank you.
so,
It was a kick-ass reading. Thank you very
so.
much.
And because hashtag I'm an overachiever, I am looking at the satisfaction with the outcome, because I'm curious about that. Knight of Pentacles. This is going to take longer than what you want it to,
Yeah. Well,
but you've worked on the farm. You know how this works.
yeah.
The next 2 cards are I have the 5 of Wands and the 5 of Pentacles. You're gonna hit some. There's gonna be moments when you're not gonna be satisfied because things are not moving, or other things may be discovered, and use that passion to be able to help you move through it. And with the 5 of Pentacles, don't forget to ask for help. You are not by yourself on this.
Okay.
I mean, does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah.
Okay. And there's something important too, is as a reader, I can usually energetically tell when somebody gets it. I don't need to say anymore, so I stop talking.
Hmm.
So
I do have one question.
yes.
So, as far as asking for help, is this referring to asking professionals for help or asking family or friends for help? Or
The 5 of Pentacles is supported by judgment. So ask for professionals, ask for people who trust, maybe somebody who has been on the journey themselves.
okay.
And definitely, um, it is a sign of strength when somebody asks for help.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering if as you're along the journey, maybe you need to switch things up.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
probably. Yeah,
yeah,
because you get to kind of a plateau, and then
yep,
sometimes you need to make a little change, and then you're
yep,
off again, and it's good.
yep.
Yeah.
Well, and okay, and so the Five of Wands is
Mhm.
paired with the Ace of Wands. That is a beautiful mix.
Yeah.
When you get the Five of Wands, which for me, the Five of Wands, Thomas just talked about this on his show on Sunday. Five of Wands for me is always an exchange of energy.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't have to be an argument, it doesn't have to be a conflict. It just has to be monitored so it doesn't get out of control.
It's good.
So
Yeah.
as it comes for, being satisfied with the outcome, when you are not happy with it, start the new path. Go, okay, let's pull back. Let's pull back, and you're smart like that.
Great.
So
Yeah, but the new path shouldn't be just another bag of potato chips. It should be an actual path.
no, actually, it might actually be you actually walking, you actually literally walking labyrinth. Do you have labyrinths around you?
Um, there used to be a guy who came and like did the labyrinth walk like once a month at a local church, but there is one that's just in the ground in a
Mhm.
town nearby, and my friends really like that. We stopped going during COVID, but I could probably get a few of them to look back into it.
There's also, I think, a website called
Yeah,
labyrinthfinder.com, something like that. And the reason I say this is just because it is a form of walking meditation,
yeah,
and movement is important. And also pay attention to your body, because if something burns, that's not a good thing.
right.
So Jane is going to make one in their yard so we can go visit Jane.
Okay,
So,
there you go.
any other questions from that?
No, this is very good. Really, really good. I think you hit all the, I think you ticked all the boxes.
Okay.
I think that's great.
And private readings, we can ping off on all that stuff, but that energetically feels pretty good to me.
Yeah,
So, but I would say use your strengths and your foresight to plan how you're going to deal with these slight challenges.
yeah. Just
Yes,
make
we do, Amanda.
notes.
Amanda's like, well, do we get to hear about Gerald's yard now? In my house and the exterior and all that stuff. So yeah. So no, thank you. Wow. So I could tell Colleen was taking notes, so that's a very good thing.
Yeah,
So
it's really good. Really,
so
really good.
thank you.
Um, okay. All right. Even though I've shuffled these cards a million times, I'm going to shuffle them some more. Well,
Okay.
let's just really focus in on your question.
And I'm just looking at chat. May I talk while you're shuffling?
Yes, go right ahead.
So I see a lot of the best chatters are bringing it, and I think there are different ways to do the numerology. My suggestion is pick one that works for you and do it. So sorry, Jane, you didn't get robbed. It's a shadow number, but you don't have to have one. So
Lisa is saying, what do you suggest is an appropriate time to read again? Yeah, months. One per season, maybe. I don't think that's unreasonable.
mm-mm.
And you do usually see changes in your life around those times.
Yes.
Not right at the change, maybe in the midstream. I don't know, but
Yep.
I think no, you don't really need more than that. You certainly don't need it monthly. You don't need it every week. Certainly don't need it every day. But once a year is maybe not enough, because as you raise your vibration and as you are changing, you're changing. You're
Mhm.
changing who you are. Your
Yep.
molecules are
You
changing.
got it.
Your brain is rewiring. The synapses are going different places. And you may think you know who you are now, but with all of this elevation of energy going on for those of us who are very sensitive, it really helps to connect to somebody who is also sensitive and who can help you, just reassure you that you're going along the right path, or maybe
Yes.
pointing something out that might be making it more difficult for you. And a good reader can do that.
Yeah. I was going to say 3 months is good. I like 3 months.
Yeah.
That being said, I get concerned when somebody keeps coming back with the same question regularly.
Yeah.
Then I may not be the reader for them, or they're not actually doing the work they need to do. And that your statement had the Val seal of approval.
Yeah. And you know, when you're coming to a reader and you're asking for help, don't be surprised if they actually give you help. They're not just telling you what you want to
Yeah.
hear. They might actually be giving you advice that is really needed in your life. So
Yes.
if you can be open to that, great. If you hear it more than once from two different people or three different people, sit up and take notice, because
Yep.
you're not coming to these readings just for fun.
Mm-mm.
Okay, let's be real. You're adults, most of you,
Yeah.
I hope. You're not coming to get these readings just to pass the time. This isn't in lieu of having another glass of wine or a cup of coffee. This is
Yes.
because you're really trying to grow. And
Yep.
if you're trying to grow, sometimes that journey is a little bit hard, and the readers can help you get to the next level. What helps me, like the comment about the stones helping with anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's take care of that. Maybe she needs more than stones. Maybe she needs oils. Maybe she needs a different kind of meditation.
Yep.
Maybe she needs to do yoga. I don't know, but they can really help you go on to the next level. And I think that's so, so, so important, to connect with people who are loving and kind but knowledgeable, and who
Yes.
can I always we in my coven, we always say, always have a hand up and a hand down. You're
Yeah.
always reaching up to go higher, and you're always reaching down to help somebody come up.
You got it.
You always want to be doing that. Always, always, always. It feels good. It's kind of selfish because it really feels good. It really makes you feel good. It also helps you solidify your own spiritual lessons when you teach them
Mm-hmm.
to somebody else, but
Yes.
only if they are ready to hear it.
Yes.
You can't shove it down somebody's throat.
Yeah.
All right, so let me think about Gerald. Okay. All right. You can talk to people. I'm just thinking about you.
Yeah, Jonathan. So people. I mean, it, a reader is someone who supports you. They are not doing the work for you. If the reader is not giving you the support that you need, look at yourself, figuring out what it is that you need. But it's like a therapist. You got to make sure that you're doing the work for that. You know, you're just not going to show up and sit in a chair and be better. You have to take an active part. So it's very, very important. So, but Lisa, that was a great question. Thank you for that. So, but and I also love the idea of, after a reading, people take notes, they contemplate on it, they think about it, they try to understand the nuances of it. That's the beauty, and that's putting you into, that's your magic and being part of it. As a reader, I'm just a channel for information. I am an oracle providing information to you. So, and by the way, when a reader is quiet, it doesn't mean that things are bad. It just means that they're concentrating.
Okay. So how did you decide to begin to do this project? What was the impetus for doing this project?
Oh, it was external. It needed to be done, or things would be happening. Windows would be cracking. So it's outside of my area. It was an external influence, if I can say that.
Okay. So I think you need a small team of people to do this.
Okay.
I don't think you should just take it on yourself. Um, there's a lot of inner turmoil about taking it all on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the amount of time it's going to take, um, the knowledge, the skill level, the whole thing is just a little bit daunting for one person to do by themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think if you have a small team of people to tackle it, it will be
Uh-huh.
much better. And I would suggest that you think about what are the jobs that need to be done that make you feel happy
Mm-hmm.
about doing them. And you should pick those to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then you should get someone else to do those other things, like the things with the windows. Probably that's somebody you hire because it
Mm-hmm.
may be replacing windows or whatever.
Right.
Unless you did that in another lifetime, and I just don't know. But anything that you think, I'm going to need to buy some big equipment for that, or a lot of tools, or what,
Yep.
that means you probably need to hire someone to do that, because you don't need to invest in all of these tools when you could just put your money and invest into the person to do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
You may want to direct the whole project, but you don't necessarily want to spend your whole spring and summer doing all of this every time you're off camera.
Yes.
That's not going to make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got some anxiety about just doing the thing. So you're going to just pick the things that you really love to do and do that part. And then you're going to build a team of some kind to do the rest of it. But you're also going to take a step back and really think about, what do you want the whole thing to look like when you're done? What's your vision? Because it should reflect your vision when it's done. Even if other people are doing the work, there's nothing that says that you can't make those people do what you would have done if you could do it, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because there is a lot of work to do, and
Mm-hmm.
even if it was you and Jeffrey trying to do all the work yourselves, it's still a ton of stuff.
Yep.
And I know for me, I've had many houses, many apartments. I've inherited many yards that needed work, many old houses, things that needed work. It's never just that thing that you're looking at. You,
Yes.
you start doing work
Yep.
on one thing, and five other things line up behind
You
it.
got it.
So that's another reason to hire people who already have the tools and the knowledge of how to do this
Good.
efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the final card that I'm getting for this is that you will find professionals that you can work with, people they don't cost an arm and a leg, and they're reasonable. You may even be able to find some kind of a contractor that sort of does kind of all, offers you solutions for almost all of it,
Mm-hmm.
except that it sounds like it's going to be the house aspect of it and then the grounds aspect of it.
Yeah.
So there's probably two different agencies or entities that you have to deal with. And, of course, that's going to cost money, but it's going to cost you anyway,
Yes.
right? If you were spending your time doing it, what if strained your back or, twisted your ankle or something? You
Mm-hmm.
can't really afford to do that. And you probably don't want to do that. So getting these people to help you is probably the way to go. Now, I kind of cheated because I brought up your chart and I threw up the transits with your chart, because I think that's going to also give us some information about when these things should be taking place.
Okay.
So, so you're thinking about this right now. I did this for today. You're thinking about this right now. Your moon is going through the fifth house, and that's your house for fun, and that's where your sun is, and your Venus and your Neptune, and that's why you're such a good reader, because you like to have fun with things. Um, but your moon is there, and you really are pondering this right now. This
Mm-hmm.
really is your top
Yep.
of mind. Um, Now, this is going to require both some knowledge, some aesthetics, and some labor. And so
Mhm.
for knowledge, we're going to look at Mercury. And now Mercury is up in your 10th house. So right this red hot minute, until Mercury gets out of Aries, you should really be focusing on your career. And at the moment, from what I see, your career is more your channel
Yeah.
than your house. But your sun has gone into the 11th house. And so that deals with hopes, dreams, and wishes, and groups that you're a part of. So that's where you start to look for the help that you need.
Mm.
People and groups that you're already a part of, they know people. So they're the ones that you should reach out to for getting some contacts and starting to call people. Also, that Uranus Jupiter conjunction is just in your 11th house, and it just hit your north node. So you're thinking about your legacy, your mission, what's all going in life. And this is a little bit in conflict with having to do work around the house outside. It's like, wait, these are two things that don't go together in the same sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's true, they really don't. So it feels a little bit like it could be a crisis point for you, or at least internally it feels like a crisis point, even if it isn't like some window falling out of your house.
Uh-huh.
It feels like there's a lot of things that are urgent of the moment. We have to deal with it, when maybe it's, yeah, I think you have 5 minutes. I think
Yeah.
you
Take a
could
step
work.
back. Yep.
Yeah, I think you could take a step back, like the Hermit card is saying, and you can just
Yep.
kind of review and get an overview of what's going
Mm-hmm.
on. So you want to probably, let me see, when is Mercury going? Oh, it's the wrong year.
25th?
Going into Taurus?
No, I don't know. Sorry. I thought it's going direct on the 25th.
Oh, yeah, it's going direct on the 25th. That's right. And it's still going to be in Aries when it's direct. And it's going to get into Gemini the first week in June. No, Taurus. Where's Taurus? Oh, here we go. In May. So by May 16th, it enters Taurus. So that's a great sign to use, because you're talking about the outside of your house, the beauty of your house, the structure,
Mm-hmm.
the solidity of your house, but also the grounds. So it's perfect. Okay. So May 16th, that's your target date for really like talking to people, getting your team together. And in the meantime, you can spend time sort of sketching or visualizing how you want your house to look, what things you want to be fixed, where you want it to go, because that'll be good energy for that. And
Mm-hmm.
then the beautification part, Venus, I think, is going to be also going into Taurus. That's also going to be helpful. Yeah, Venus is going to be in Taurus by the beginning of May. So that works too. So Venus will be helping your visions, and Mars. Now Mars is still in Pisces, and that's a crap place to use Mars energy. Although, where's your Mars? Your Mars is in Virgo. Yeah, it's opposite your Mars. So, yeah, not. So this is another reason you're not just feeling like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go out and dig a
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
put up some windows and re-roof the house. Yeah, you're not. Your energy isn't telling you can do that. But
Mm-hmm.
changes. Let me see here. I guess it's really May is when everything changes. Yeah, see, Mars goes into Aries in the very beginning of May. So you could be starting to get some things done, although I think you're going to have more impetus to do things for your channel in May than anything else.
Yeah.
That's really where your head's going to be at. But you can get this team of people going, and it could turn out that, the projects that you really want to do are more later in the summer,
Uh-huh.
So what is the kind of things that you would want to do of these projects? Any of it or none of it?
Well, I don't really like yard work, so that hiring that out is absolutely fine. Believe it or not, I actually do like replacing windows, replacing
Okay.
the broken windows. I've done it before. I was good at it. It made sense, and trust me, there's satisfaction for actually going, let's
Yeah.
let this work, and look at that. Boom.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So,
So you'll do the windows part and then you'll hire out the yard part. That's good, because this is the time of year when people will be around and doing that kind of stuff. So that would work out well. And so Mars to your, if you could wait till more, let me see, when does Mars go into Taurus? Yeah. So the June 10th is when Mars is going to go into your 11th house. And I like that as a better time, so that you don't have to split your focus too much between your channel and doing the work outside.
Mhm.
I mean, but really, how many windows are you going to replace?
There's four that I want to do.
So do you think over the course of a week, maybe 10 days, you get them all done?
Yeah.
I mean, between going to the store, getting
Yep.
what you need, all that crap. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not like you're, you know,
No.
and putting it off till June is not going to be a big hardship, right?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I just think it's safer then. I think that's a better time for you to do it. Um, yeah, and so that's what I'm going to say. Now Jupiter going through that 11th house, that's yummy. It's actually yummy for all of your connections and networking, and
Nice.
the conjunction is actually really really good for you, you know, confirming that, you know, you're doing your life's work and this is great, and you know that, you know, just oodles and oodles of wonderful energy there for you. And yeah. So I will warn you though, Gerald, the end of the year is going to be weird for you. Once Mars hits Cancer, which I think is around November. Yep, actually October. When Mars hits your first house, which is going to be in October. Oh, September. I'm really off. Okay. So September 4th, Mars will hit your first house. Great, glorious. You'll feel wonderful. You'll be all jazzed up, and you're starting the fall with all sorts of energy, lots of energy, right? Now,
Mhm.
when it hits Leo, when does it hit Leo? Yeah, at the end of November. So way after your birthday. So birthday time, Mars there in the first house, wonderful. And by the end of the month, it's going to go into Leo. And then for the rest of the year, Mars is doing this weird dance where it's going to go way into Leo. It's going to retrograde. It's going to go all the way back into Cancer and then come all the way back through Cancer and Leo again until finally at the end of the year, it gets out of Leo. So there's going to be a lot of stuff with your second house and your finances and things like that that are going to feel very what's going on, you know,
Yeah.
that you're going to have this Martian energy going over your Jupiter. Usually your money is very copacetic. Usually you're just fine with it.
Yeah.
You're fine with you and your partner's money. Everything just is really kind of smooth with that. That is not an issue. With the Mars coming over that, it might make it, I mean, you might even actually have an argument about something about money, but there's a friction, there's a challenge there.
Okay.
So just be ready for that. Christmas might be a little, you know, you might be going, I got to calm down, got to calm
Yeah.
down.
There you go. Yeah.
No,
Calm the F
that's
down.
what you're going to be saying. So sorry, I had to cheat and throw in a little astrology, but I hope that helped with your reading for the house.
It was really, really important. And I think this is one of the benefits, you know, since we're talking about readings for readers, the key is you find somebody who has the skill set that works for you, because anybody who is I think a good reader will access the tools that are available to them, because I don't know about you, but my goal is to provide a reading for you that helps you,
Yeah.
that you find that's going to support you. And sometimes that support looks like you got to get up and you got to do this. Stop it. Stop doing that. Or it's all right, you got to pace yourself and things like that. So I think it's that was great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Yeah.
And I am, you know, I'm fortunate because Colleen has she has my chart. She's got the backdoor information. She's got that. So that really,
Or, oh my.
yeah, oh my goodness. That's a whole different show. My apologies. That's a different show. I have
I
no
made him
idea
blush.
what you're
I
talking
made
about.
him blush.
Oh my God. Uh,
That's great. That's
so,
great.
but
Oh, great. Oh, that was good. Those were good readings.
those were very good readings. And so and again, I thank you for being willing to come on and talk to me about this. This is something Chris from Elemental Cartomancy, he was doing readings, and then somebody that he knows who is a professional reader came on, and they did readings for each other. And I'm like, I love this idea. I love this idea because it's a great way for people to, because how often, I mean, readers, oftentimes we are so busy. Bless you. Goodness. You okay?
Yeah, they did a lot of cleaning at work today and there was dust everywhere and my allergies are just going nuts. Go ahead.
Uh, oh no, but I think it's one of those things that people who do readings, do they get readings? Yeah, readers for, readings for readers. So it's just this idea, and I thought it's a great opportunity to share a little bit, to have people who are watching the playback get some insight on what's involved in given an in-depth reading.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And readings online are fine. They are just at a certain level. Sometimes they can go deep,
Yeah.
and it's like next Monday, caffeinated and unfiltered. Those will oftentimes go deep really quickly.
Hmm.
Legit readings. So,
Yeah.
but
You know what I love about when people think that things are just for fun, that's when the door is open and you get pretty deep because you're
yes,
relaxing. You're kind of
yes.
letting your guard down and
Hmm.
it's kind of going with the flow. And before you know it, that water man just pulls you into the ocean.
Yep. Well, okay. So then let's finish this up. So we've just done readings for each other. What do you do to end a reading?
Well, I do similar to what you do. I ask them, did I answer? Well, at the fair, I get right to it. Did I answer your question?
Hmm.
Because sometimes people don't give me any indication during the reading that I'm hitting the nail on the head or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And most of the time, I'm very proud to say, people, when I ask that question, either burst into tears and say, "Oh my God, I've never had such a great reading," or they say, "Oh, I don't know. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say." And I'm like, "Oh, good. Okay, that was really
Uh-huh.
good." Very rarely I get someone who's like, "I don't know. I didn't really know what you're talking about." And at that point, I give them their money back and I give them blessings and I send
Yep.
them on their way. It's
Yep.
like, you know what? You sat here for the whole 15 minutes. You didn't give me any indication one way or another of what was going on. You're not working with me. You're just challenging me. And I have
Yep.
other people to read for. So
Yep.
bye-bye. You know, so,
Yep.
but in jet, when I do readings for clients online, which is most of what I do these days, I will ask them, did we get to the heart of it? Did we answer your question?
Hmm.
Is there anything else that you want to know? Take a minute and just think about it.
Yeah.
And if there's anything that you want to know, just ask me now because I probably won't remember all of what I said afterwards. You'll have the recording, so you can go back over the recording.
Yes.
But if you have something you want me to follow up on, let's do it right now. Because
Yeah.
in those scenarios, we have the luxury of time. At the fair, I don't usually have that much time because I want, I've maybe got a line of people waiting. People are
Sure.
like,
Sure.
God, is she going to take all day with that guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I do something similar. I want to make sure that I've answered the question. Oftentimes, I will shuffle the cards again and pull out a card, or have them pull out a card of something that is their takeaway to help them. So it's sort
yeah,
of like, it's just like, oh, what's the thing to remember? And while I was shuffling and I was thinking about this, for you, it is the Queen of Pentacles.
oh, nice. I
I
love
love this Queen of
tentacles
Pentacles.
on her
She
bunnies.
Yeah, little bunnies. She is also the one who she is, and especially for pentacles around the physical body,
Yeah.
she is going to want to make sure that you are nurtured, that you are healthy, you are happy. The Queen of Pentacles, and look how happy she is.
Yeah. She's
Really, really
really,
happy.
really pleased with herself. It's cool.
So
I like her tattoos as well. They're very
yes, I do
cool.
too. So I would say, that's something that I do is I just go, a good takeaway is remember to nurture yourself, be kind to yourself, and you're part of the process in this. So it's really powerful. So
Nice. Very, very nice.
um so here's a question. What do you do to end the reading with your cards or anything like that? Do you shuffle the cards a certain way to clear?
Uh, what do I do? when I'm end. Well, just to like get the client to get up and move off. I usually say, okay, that's it. That's all I have to say then. But that's after I've asked them those questions. And then what I will do is, yeah, I pick up the cards and start shuffling to
Yep.
get the energy to change.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
'cause the energy's got to change. You gotta, and I do have a couple of decks with me at the fair, so occasionally I'll just switch decks. If it was a particularly heavy reading, like especially when people are asking about deceased loved ones or dread disease or,
Yeah.
something really heavy, I'll switch to a whole other deck and just let that deck kind of rest off to the
Yeah.
side for a minute.
Sometimes I'll actually put a crystal on a deck
Yeah,
to sort of give it a breather.
yeah,
But I will, I know some people knock on their decks. That's not something that I've done.
I do. I
Do
do.
you? Do
Yeah.
you?
It's kind of I think of it as kind of more of like a seal. So I've
Okay.
said my little prayer to Horus. I've told myself that my ego is going to step over here and I'm going to just do the reading. And when I get to the point where I've really finished shuffling, it's usually coincides with the end of that prayer. And then I knock on the top of the deck and then I cut it.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense because if you're knocking, you should be pulling the cards. It's just what I do.
Sometimes when I do a riffle shuffle, when I bridge them, I will blow on them
Oh,
to clean it out.
oh, okay, all right, yeah.
And
That's
Merita says I knock cards to remove energy,
yeah.
and Val does the same thing. Knocking works.
Now I keep a few stones at my booth. I keep here. Where's that big green one? Where did my green calcite go?
And by the way, this is the way Clucky says, "Thank you for letting me read for you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Get out."
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Kidding, Clucky. And yeah, Beth also knocks on her decks, crystals on them, and use the bell.
So I usually keep
Angela knocks too.
I usually keep a piece of citrine on the table, and I usually because see it sometimes gets windy, so it's literally I'm
True.
using the stones to hold the cards down so they don't blow away if I'm not using them. And then I use this one to hold them down. This is a nice I think this is a celestite. I love this one.
Oh,
Nice,
that's pretty.
big healthy chunk of celestite. And I'm going to use this one. This is my new citrine. Still has a label on the top, but I'm going to use this.
Nice.
And then I don't know where it went, but I have a nice, huge chunk. Where the heck is it? It's probably in my closet of green calcite because I like green stones with my cards to bring in the money, or gold stones.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
I usually have 3 decks and I have 3 big good sized stones, and those stones help me too. And then whatever's in my jewelry, I usually have stones in my jewelry,
Yeah. Beth also will use a bell to clear them.
Yep. I do that here. I don't take a bell to the fair. Ooh, look at that.
Selenite slab. I got this at my local witchy shop. It's great to, when I get a new deck, I have 2 of them, sandwich it right there.
Ooh, very nice.
It's
very
quite
nice.
Merita asked a question. And by the way, Linda Day Gonzalez, it's lovely to see you. And good to see you. And so Merita asked, do you think it's a good idea to put time limit on your readings in a public situation?
I do, and I think you kind of have to because they're giving you a finite amount of energy and the amount of money that they're giving you, and so you have to give back kind of a finite amount of time. And also, when you consider that you have multiple clients who are also waiting to get their readings, it's only fair. But I've kind of taught myself to make the readings not shorter, but I've kind of I think originally I was using a timer on my phone, and I've used that so much that I don't know if it's my guides or me, but we wrap it up at about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It just gets wrapped up.
Yeah.
And then it's, as they say, complete.
Yes. Well, and I agree with that because there is, as a reader, we need to set our boundaries and our timeline. How much time are we putting for the exchange of money that we've figured out?
Mm-hmm.
And we need to be comfortable with that. And people will. We need to be realistic. And it's like, okay, what do you want to know? Well, I'm not going to be able to do all three of those questions. Which one is the most important?
Yeah.
So,
And I'll do something similar. When they say that they have a few questions, I'll say, well, let's start with one, and then I can do some follow-up cards for the other two, because otherwise you're going to do three different readings. I don't think you
yeah,
want to pay for three different readings.
yeah,
And they're like, oh, yeah, no, I don't want to pay for that. I'm like, yeah, because my time is so worthless. Come on, fuck you. Get out of here. Get out of here with that. But,
yeah,
there's there's lots of readers at the fair. There's probably like 15 different readers at the fair, and we're all
sure,
kind of located close to one another. And if people come back to you, that's really good. That's
yes,
really, really good. And
mhm,
I do have people come back to me, and I haven't been there as long as some of the other readers. Some of them have been there like 30 years, and that's why they have repeat customers. I've been there, I think, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, but I have people coming back to me. And so
mhm,
like that, that's good.
yeah. Um, um, Merita likes lapis and amethyst for
Oh,
intuition.
of course, it's my ring. It's
Yes,
lapis. And I
and
always have amethyst around.
Val likes calcite.
Yeah, I love calcite. I have honey calcite, orange calcite, and my green calcite.
Yeah, and for reading in public, it's one of those things. It's like I encourage anyone who is, I'm going to say magical or intuitive. You know what works for you. You know what gives you strength. You know what helps ground you.
Yeah.
Do those things because you develop a relationship with them. I, for one, cannot use hematite.
Oh, really?
Hematite. I used to wear hematite rings. They would last a day, and I would break them. They would crack on me.
Isn't
So,
that interesting?
and I think after the third or fourth time, I was like, you know what? This isn't for me. And I would also lose them when they were in my pockets, and I'm like, hematite is not for me.
Wow.
So,
Wow, wow, wow.
it's
That's
strange. So,
crazy.
um, wow, we've been on for an hour and 37 minutes. This has
Oh
been
my
great.
God. That
It it,
did
it
not
did not.
feel like it.
No, it did not. And so, thank you for coming on for the first readings for readers. I'm
Yay.
going to be doing a series of these where I invite somebody on. We do a reading for each other. I do not know how often I'm going to do it, but if you are a reader and you like the idea of joining me on screen and having a conversation and sharing a little bit, by all means, let me know. So,
Yeah.
what do you have coming up on your channel, Colleen? Let's
Oh,
let's make sure that we let people know what you've got coming up.
I have. Well, we're just about through April, but this weekend is very exciting. We have the Cool Crone Oracle on Friday,
Uh
which is
huh.
really, I love doing that show. It's all
I do
personal
too.
readings, it's all readings from the chat. And as those of you who have seen it know, Gerald co hosts with me so that I can actually manage the chat, because I'm terrible at managing the chat. And on Saturday, I'm doing a special polytorology with friends. It's
Nice.
Deanne. These are the wrong names here. It's Deanne, Celtic Sheila, and Helen Irish Granny.
Beautiful.
So that's nice. And then on Sunday, Gerald and I are going to discuss Beltane.
Yay. And
Very,
I'm hosting that, so I need to get off of my butt and create that.
yeah. And then it's Monday again, and we have caffeinated and unfiltered. So there you have
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm
It's a
reading with
bonus.
I'm reading with Michelle Marie Astrological Tarot tomorrow evening at 7 Eastern. I am doing um, blind spot readings hosted by Marina with Hershey, the Shadow Reader. I'm looking forward to that.
Mhm.
And I'm doing yes no readings with Hershey, Thomas, and Jane the Seeker is joining us.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to that. The easiest thing to do is just for everyone is to like and subscribe to both of our channels, because Colleen does an incredible job of posting shorts as well as putting stuff in the community tab. Earlier I put stuff in the community tab, and my landing page actually shows the upcoming lives that I have. So
nice.
Lisa asks the last question. I'm going to have this as the last question.
Oh, good. Yeah, I saw that too.
Do you feel drained after a certain amount of time? Online, an hour seems sufficient, but at a fair, it must be so different.
Ah, Lisa, you must learn the art of grounding. So, yeah, the ancient art of grounding. Yeah, you have to. I don't feel that it's a matter of limits, because really, when you're reading and you're reading for um, without draining yourself, it's a little trick, because if you're empathic, most of us are empathic, you have to learn how to put a little distance between you and the person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little bit tricky, because you don't want to cut off your connection from what they're going through, but you want to talk to their guides, and you want to talk to your guides, and that way you're not being just sucked dry. You're not just giving all of your energy over to the other person. But also you have to learn that there's a cycle to it. So you're connecting to the guides, to their guides, to whoever, to your guides, whatever. But then as you finish the reading, there's kind of a natural conclusion, and you need to, take a breath and ground. And one of the things that you can do, I mean, there's so many different ways to ground.
Yes.
You can eat some salt. You can eat some chocolate. You can eat root vegetables. Yeah, and you could eat, but we'd all be big as houses if we just ate all the time to ground ourselves. It's a little impractical to always rely on food, but you can do simple things. Like I don't have my cat up at the fair, but I can just, I'm doing this with my arms. I'm just holding my arms. I can just do that.
Mm-hmm.
I can, hold my face or my head. I can shuffle my cards, actually, because for me, the act of shuffling cards makes a circle of connectivity between my arms down to my fingers and then back up my arms again. So I have like a circle of grounding energy going on there quite naturally. I noticed that after a few years of reading, I was like, why is it I get done with the reading and then I'm just sitting there shuffling cards? But it was a very kind of a soothing, grounding, kind of put me back into my own body kind of experience. And then I was ready to do the next one. I do find after a day at fair, it's just a long work day. It's, we start the fair at 10 o'clock in the morning. We have to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning. The fair goes until 7 o'clock at night, and then we have to stay until all the patrons leave the park, and then we can break down our booths and leave. So it's a 12-hour day, 10-hour day. And I'm not used to that. I'm really spoiled. I have a 9-to-5 job. I don't work those kind of hours, but that gets draining. But the reading part of it, unless I've had some particularly difficult customers, that does not get so draining.
Yeah. I am a hardcore extrovert, and I like reading. People wonder why I'm online so much, because I like it. I like that energy exchange. So I could do a lot of readings and be perfectly fine, with the occasional, I need to remember to hydrate. I also need to remember to walk around. That oftentimes helps me just to shift the energy. And it shifts the energy. It also shifts my perspective about what's going on, because I do pay I pay a lot of attention to the environment, because I like to hold space. And so if something's weird is coming from over there, trust me, when I get up the next time, I'm going over there and I'm clearing it, whether or not it wants to go. It's going to leave me alone. Yes. And Merita said, I felt pretty buzzed after doing readings with Allie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, so it is important to understand the rhythm. So, but I used to train for a living, so I could do an 8-hour training and have full blown energy. But once I was done, we had about a half an hour for me to figure out what was going on, where we were going to eat, and pack everything up. Because once everything's packed up, that half hour mark, I go through a reset, and then my energy will come back up. It's the things that we know about ourselves.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're welcome, Lisa. And everybody figures out their own rhythm. I'm going to be talking to other people and finding out how their rhythms are. They're just different. Doesn't make them better or worse.
Yeah.
They're just different.
Yep.
And by the way, there's enough room for all of us.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Thank you, Colleen. We will say
You.
yes. This has been great, and so we will see you the next time. Well, actually, we'll see you together on Friday at the cool Crone Oracle, which
Yes,
is
we will.
incredibly fun. So, all right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. See you later.